those that like to troll and, never extenuate any blessings or words of encouragement, just know and understand that, excuse what the hat is saying. You know, pay attention to the actions of the man and the words in which are spewing from a gullet. Because that's ultimately what's more important in my walk with Christ and living it accordingly and not sitting up here on a deceptive mission because I have nothing to gain at all. Things that I talk about, I have no ties. So it's like I can really sit and give an honest assessment thereof because that's what it's about. Sometimes we got to be the very light that is surrounded by darkness. It took me a long time to really know and understand that because I was operating one way, really not understanding the full entire gravity of living within the spirit of the Almighty. Ultimately, that's what's more important because there are entities all around us, people, whether you want to realize it or not, or understand it or not. They're there to see. For those who have the eyes to see, the ears to hear, that's deep into itself. So we got to understand that we are surrounded by a lot of dark forces that they've already lost the war. And they know they've already lost the war. See, for them, it's not about trying to win a war that they already know they can't win and have already lost. For them, it's about, okay, the Titanic is sinking. Let me see how many I can take with me on this sinkage. That's what that's about. So they're trying to take as many souls to hell as they can with them to burn. And it's up to us to do everything in which we can so that we can live in eternity with the Most High God in Christ. Our kingdom still has not yet came yet, but it's coming. There's still promises that have to be kept, and it's going to happen. It's imminent. This world right here, this is about a wrap. It's about over. And then all this talk of aliens and all this nonsense, there's no such thing as aliens. How's everybody doing? Blessings. There's no such thing as aliens. There's fallen angels and there's evil spirits. Evil spirits being the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim giants that once roamed and then came back. The Nephilim, they're all around too. So, so this whole alien thing is just a bunch of hocus pocus. All in the movies, all through everything. They'll give you a little bit of truth mixed with the lies. They got to. That's why it's so easy for them to deceive so many. And they do it so gracefully. They got it down to a science. I mean, think about it. They incorporate the lies into the minds of the youth at an early age. So then when the same said youth grow up, once they hear the truth being uttered, they deny it and disbelieve it entirely under the guise of scientifically speaking. So we need to understand that too. So much we got to understand. There's so much to learn. How can we not enjoy learning the truth, learning the real? Because if it wasn't a big deal like that, they wouldn't have spent so much countless time and effort, and money and resources to keep all these multifaceted truths contained. And that's what they do. And then Once people start coming to the forefront with the truth, now they got to get ahead of it. Now they'll start sending people in various communities and various different constructs, pretending as if their ideology is on the same level as yours. And then slowly but surely, when they begin with you, then they start segueing over into their true belief system. It's inevitable, and it never fails. Especially these people, they always go, "Oh, you're not special," especially when you have never even uttered such. But the whole reason that they were sent into your life was for a specific reason. You know, they already be knowing who you are before they done sent the mere cog into your life. You know, and it's insane how they just send people into your life like that to try to undermine. They put a lot of effort into doing that too. And they don't care nothing about them. They don't care about giving them what they want. Remember, Satan can make anybody wealthy in which he wants in a moment of time. He's got that power. The earth is his. He runs things down here. He's amongst us. He runs this whole entire show. That's why we got to stop believing all these narratives, all this propaganda. You know, they got so many different treaties in place, like the Antarctic Treaty and several other treaties. So if they got all these different treaties, how in the world can we truly be at war with one another? See what I mean? So we got to wake up before it's too late. I'm not saying wake up in terms of from a worldly standpoint. Everything is biblical. Even the people who claim they don't believe in anything, but they'll believe some would-be, wannabe scientists. Like, for instance, they'll tell you who they were told NASA was started by, but at this juncture, we should already know who NASA was truly started by. Von Braun and all of his Nazi constituents. You know, they had the Vril Society. They had New Schwabenland down there in Antarctica. And in that area of the world where Atlantis and all these different, you know, high technological societies were, these were all inhabited by fallen angels and demons, demonic entities. So, you know, the Most High, through that flood and everything, that's why that part of the world is in the condition in which it's in now. Remember, the whole entire earth used to be one solid structure. All these different lands were one. The flood is what changed the landscape. That's how corrupt things became. And it's sad. It is so sad. It's so sad to when you see so many people who are just so disillusioned out here, but pretend like they've got it in the bag. People who are so completely just so illogically inclined, but act like they contain all of the logics, and they don't. It's sad. It's pitiful. They'll anticipate coming at you one way, but then once you get to talking, now they want to stand down because they have nothing to stand on. And then it's not even about that. It's about Christ. That's why they hate Christ. And then how they've whitewashed everything. When they know the true people who are behind the creation of everything, you know. They're the ones trying to make it like it's a race thing. And that's the trick of the enemy. Stripped everybody of their true identities and then go re-implementate fraudulent narratives, fraudulent so-called race titles, and then got us operating according to that construct. And it's crazy when you really just sit and think about it. And nothing to ever be able to get done about anything because people are hard-headed. People refuse to turn from wickedness. You can put all the information right there in front of them and prove it, and they'll still be talking about what they were taught. The whole reason NASA was created was to police the skies, hide the firmament, lying, talking about there's other planets and there's not. Especially if we're talking about multiple heavens here. Multiple heavens. You know, that and then there's portals all throughout the earth. So it's about them hiding all of that. That's why they got CERN opening up portals and then these tornadoes and things. And the other day I think I seen something on the news. They talking about there was a comet came in through space. Wasn't no comet. You gotta remember, it's either some type of deceptive trick or the way that these so-called asteroids and comets operate is the Bible describes as angels that are fallen. But see, they completely hide all of that. Or like they got people thinking there's a thing called epilepsy. When every time people had seizures during biblical times, that was when they were being possessed by a demonic entity. But see, we'll totally discard that. We'll discard the word of the Most High, and we'll go by one of Satan's minions under the guise of, they're a scientist, they're a doctor, they're this and that. When those who are at the top of the food chain in that world, they know that there's the Most High God, and they know the real truth. That's how they're able to come forward and implement deception in place of the truth. It's very simple. It's very simple. But not for the simple-minded. There's just far too many simpletons running around, but acting like they contain all the knowledge, like they knowledge P in the flesh. From Belly, anybody who knows that movie and heard that term, they act like they're a couple knowledge P's off up in there. But hey, it's all to the good. And there's a lot of, you just got to be careful. These are the times to stay hedged under the protection of the Most High and stay in prayer. Because there are things going on that if you are not spiritually aware, you will be swallowed up, spit out. Then they'll take your regurgitated carcass and chew it up again and re-spit it out again. How about you make me? Bam. We'll just reduce you down to bam. How about that? If I'm lying, prove what I'm saying to be lies. You can't just spew things like that from your gullet and then you don't have anything to add to it. See, individuals like you got a nice flaming hot seat waiting for you in the pits of hell. And it's all good. Because if you like it, I love it. Because we don't need individuals containing your ideological viewpoint, because all you're going to do is be a hindrance to the work of gaining souls to Christ. See, people like you haven't done a shred of homework, You haven't done a shred of investigation. You just want to come on somewhere and criticize. And that's what I've been talking about. Individuals who can never uplift, people who can never have anything nice to say. You know, they don't care about our communities. All they want to do is tear down and be a part of the constraints of society. That's all people like you want to do, man. But you've got the audacity to come onto my platform and say that I'm uttering lies, but you don't have anything to validate your ideological viewpoint and or assessment on this matter. See now it's crickets. See, people, it's always crickets when they can't prove or validate what they're saying. Everything that I'm saying has been proven and can be proven again. The knowledge is out there for those that want to seek it. You can't just discard what an individual says and you're not ready to validate. The world doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. You got to be able to substantiate your claims. So unless you're ready to substantiate your claims, then maybe it's time for you to just stand down and keep your gullet sealed, you know? It'll probably be in the best interest of everybody. And we don't hate you. We love everybody. We just want you to turn away from wickedness and turn back to Christ, because that's what it's about. Those that persecute, you got to show them love. And this is what I'm learning more and more. Because it's easy to match evil with evil. That's easy to do. But who has time to do that? You know? It's easy for a troll to get on here and criticize and make accusations. But they themselves, they don't have the sterner stuff that's required to put themselves out there like that to be criticized. They always want to sit in their little crevice cubby hole and do it. They don't want to do it in a real way, and they're surely not going to do it in anybody's face. You know? And it's crazy because, you know, the modernized male has been so demasculated by the societal standards that's been incorporated. You know? Real men are a dying breed. And that's because of people like this Bam guy who wants to get on here and criticize, you know, and he probably wear a skirt in secret, probably be going to these clubs that do all kind of weird, sick, nasty, twisted stuff, you know, getting their excrete hole tampered with in an unruly manner, but then got the audacity to come on here and criticize. Like, you got to get yourself together, sir. Because from where I'm standing, the only person that's lying is you. Your name is a lie. Your history is a lie. And you've bought into the fictionalized lies that have been implemented into your brain since the age of adolescence, sir. So, you enjoy your day. Stay in prayer. I wish you nothing but the best. You know? Good luck with, you know, in your future endeavors. But, you know, but I'm on this mission to try to accumulate souls to Christ, because that's what it's about. I've tried every way in the world but that way. And that way works. Scripture already tell us, you know, it already be next to impossible, because people like this Bam guy gets on here and they never have anything positive to say. There's never any positivity at all whatsoever. All they want to do is spew negativity and hatred. This is why the conditions in our communities are so messed up, because of people like that. You know? So, you know, and it's crazy that people want to take their God-given attributes to sit up here and spew hatred. all based on the very lies that's been inserted into our mind state at an early age. It's like, when do we break the cycle? When do we break the societal constraints that's keeping us conditioned? When does that ever happen? But they'll go acknowledge people who destroy our communities. They'll go and acknowledge people who are a detriment to the people in society. You know, it's easy for them to go and do that. They'll do that. But they won't listen to anything positive. That's so crazy to me. That is so crazy. And it's senseless. And if we're going to be all the way honest, I feel sorry for people like this BAM guy who's sitting on here trying to say I'm lying about the things that I'm talking about, as if he's done the research. Clearly hasn't done the research, because now we're at a time in life where the answers are out there, because we're in the age of knowledge and understanding. We are in the age of information. And that's one thing about the forces of darkness. See, there's spiritual laws in place that they have to follow, or it'll be immediate judgment from the heavens. So they still have to operate under spiritual laws. See, that's the part people want to forget and they don't want to acknowledge. So before you sit up here, you know, and part of those spiritual laws is they have to tell us the truth, even though they're going to do it in a deceptive manner, or do it in the form of a movie, or they'll do it in the form of something that presents the illusion of make-believe, but it be the truth though, because they have to follow the spiritual laws to the latter. That's just the way it is. So before you come onto my platform trying to say that I'm lying, sir, do your homework. Do your investigation. Don't sit up here spewing negativity when I'm being positive. That's what's wrong with our society now. That's what's wrong with our people now. They so quick to go against each other, but they so scared of going against the true enemy. I'll never understand that. When you've been given the absolute power of all power, and that's the Most High God in Christ within us. That power trumps all. But yeah, we don't ever want to tap into that power. We want to lower our vibration. And we want to allow the true forces of darkness, we want to allow the true enemies of the Most High God in Christ to thrive. We'll allow them to have their way and to extenuate their ideological views. But we don't want to ever accept the truth in its totality, the real truth, the real facts. It is such a problem to do that. So I feel sorry for you, Bam Bot Kane, or, you know, that sounds kind of suspect, sir. Just being honest with you, because I like to keep it honest. Sounds you like you one of those down low, late in the midnight hour men that likes your excrete hole rubbed and nurtured. We got to get out of that. You got to get out of that real quick. You know? So we got to stop insulting each other out here. Why are we insulting one another? Where's that going to get you? Like, for real. It's just a shame that people, it's just such wasted energy. It's just so hard to be there for one another. So hard to lift each other up in the spirit of the Almighty. It's just such a difficult task. One day, though, we're all going to have to sit before the throne of the Most High God and explain our actions. You know, why not do everything that we can to please Him? He didn't even have to create us. And then it's like, and then y'all sit and wonder why he brought the flood on. You know? Like think of us just from our human perspective with our little creations and things. We would be upset, hurt, and everything else if our creation turned on us and didn't acknowledge us in the manner in which we deemed fit, and then gave them the unadulterated ability to have free dominion, free will. He didn't have to do that. He could have created us like robots, but he thought enough to give us life and give us a chance. Isn't it fitting that we owe him more than that? We owe the Most High God more than that. Than to just continue to make a mockery of him and downplay the validity of his power. He can do anything he wants to do when he wants to do it. Grace and mercy is what's saving us. And then he gave up his own son, man. How many of you are going to give up your own kids to die for the world in the most heinous, brutalist fashion ever concocted? Agonizing death. Like, come on now. There ain't not one person out there would do that for the sins of the entire world. Now we're talking about for people that are enemies, people you hate, people who wronged you, people you love. And he did it for all parties. So we owe more than that, man. Like, it's completely absurdly ridiculous to come on to somebody's platform who's, extenuating love and kindness on a real level and not just sitting up here playing a character or sitting up here playing a mere part, but really trying to do this and do it honestly. That's why I can always pinpoint what the true issue is. Because the world has, has then given the okay on sin, so to speak. So now we're in this weird time space where when people speak out against things that are clearly wrong, people always want to concoct different derogatory terms to attack those who are about righteousness. And that's not right. It's not, we got to get out of that way of thinking. It is imperative that we segue from that way of thinking. Imagine that. The Most High God brought the flood on to eradicate the giants and to rid the earth of all this extra level of wickedness. And then he watched it all drown. He watched everything die. And then to have to send his son to give us another chance. See, that's why I take offense to individuals trying to reduce Christ down to just a mere man. If he was just a mere man, he wouldn't have been able to come down here and do the things in which he did. Because he wasn't a sorcerer. He wasn't a magician. He wasn't any of these derogatory things that they constantly and continually kept trying to indicate. See, the problem is people really don't truly understand how deep all of this goes. This is real deep. But people will have been reduced down to such a low degree, they think simple-minded things are deep, and the truly in-depth things, they look at it in a minute fashion. How is that even right? It's not right at all. But it's all good though. Keep that same energy, Bam. I want nothing but the best for you, even though you're spewing negativity and hatred with no validation. You don't even contain the ability to substantiate. Just want to discredit somebody just for the sake of discrediting because you're angry at yourself. But we'll keep you in prayer, though. Hopefully, you will see the error of your ways before it's too late. That said, hope everybody has a blessed day, because I'm having a blessed day. We need to recognize that and give the Most High God credit where credit is very much due. And He doesn't even need our credit and validation, but we are obligated to give it because He didn't have to give life to us, and yet He did. So, food for thought. Praises be to the Most High. Y'all have a fantastic day out there.